This is Coding Math Mini number 6, a better random. Random numbers are useful for all kinds of things in coding. Most languages have a random number generator, and JavaScript is no exception. It's on the math object. You just call math.random, and that returns a random number somewhere between 0.0 and 1.0. Technically, that range includes 0 and excludes 1. So there's an infinitesimal chance that calling math random might return exactly 0, but it will never return exactly 1. 0.9999, but never 1. This fact seems relatively insignificant, but it will be useful, so keep it in mind. Now, there's a good chance that when you need a random number for some specific purpose, you need a number outside of the range of 0 to 1. Maybe you need something from 0 to 100. Well, that's pretty easy. You just multiply the random result by 100. So your random result was, say, 0.3757. Your final result will be 37.57. Just remember that while there's a very minor chance that your initial number could be 0.0, and thus your final number could be 0.0, the initial random number will never be 1, so your final number will never reach 100. Now, what if the range of numbers you want doesn't begin with 0? Say you want a number from 25 to 100. So you know that it's going to be at least 25, and this part here, the 25 to 100, is the random range. So this range is 100 minus 25, or 75. So the algorithm is the minimum plus math random times the range. And the range is max minus min. So we're saying 25 plus math random times 100 minus 25, or 25 plus math random times 75. So we can write that into a function pretty easily. Say function random range takes a min and a max, and we return min plus math random times max minus min. Now, what's great about this is that, like a lot of the other utility functions we created, it auto-adjusts itself for negative or reversed values. A common use is to have random values that can be either positive or negative. So your range might be something like minus 10 to plus 10. So you just say random range minus 10, comma, plus 10. Or even random range 10, comma, minus 10, if that's how you roll. It'll still work. We can demonstrate this in use with this file. It's our standard canvas template. It runs through a for loop 200 times. Inside the for loop, it first draws a red circle between 0 and width times 0.33. Then a green circle from width times 0.33 to width times 0.66. Then a blue circle from width times 0.66 to width. So you get 3 bands of color. The y positions and radius also use the random range function. And here's what that gives you. Now, another quick random function we can create is random int. Probably the most obvious use for this is in accessing a random element in an array. Array indexes need to be integers, so if you generate a random number, you either need to floor it or round it. Otherwise, you'll be looking for an array index of something like 3.479, which doesn't exist. So our first try at random int is essentially the same function as random range, but we run the result through math round first. So we say random int min, comma, max. We return math round min plus math random times max minus min. Now remember that math random will never return exactly 1. So if your range here is 0 to 10, it's never going to come up with 10, only 9.999. Now if we were to use math floor here, the result would be 0 to 9 inclusive. But by using math round, anything over 9.5 will become 10. Sounds good, right? Running random int 0, 10 will give you back a number from 0 to 10 inclusive. But how random is it really? Let's reduce the range to 0 and 2 for a moment, and look what the results could be. The initial call to math random returns something from 0 to 0.999. Multiply that by max minus min, or 2, and add that to min, 0, and you get something from 0 to 1.999. Round that, and you have either 0, 1, or 2. That's what you want, but let's look a bit closer. If the number is between 0 and 0.4999, it rounds to 0. If it's from 0.5 to 1.4999, it rounds to 1. And if it's from 1.5 to 1.999, it will round to 2. So in fact, we have a 50% chance of coming up with the number 1 as a result. Only a 25% chance of either 0 or 2. So we'll need another strategy. What we'll do is we'll add 1 to the range and use math floor. So now we say return math floor min plus math random times max minus min plus 1. In the 0 to 2 example, this will generate a random number from 0 to 2.999. Flooring that will definitely give you 0, 1, or 2. And looking at the ranges, 0 to 0.999 will give you 0, 1 to 1.999 will give you 1, and 2 to 2.999 will give you 2. Now experts will tell you that this gives you a very slight bias towards lower numbers, but it's nothing you're going to notice in everyday examples. I'll leave you to research that on your own if you're interested. To demonstrate this, I've set up another file with an array containing the words 0 to 9. I used random int to generate an integer from 4 to 8 and log the array value for that index. And we run that a few times in a loop, and the output, you can see that it always logs 4 through 8. So there you go, a couple of new useful functions. These aren't rocket science, but these are functions that you'll no doubt use all the time. So it's nice to have them sitting there rather than writing them out from scratch every time you need them.